Brad from Pro Wrestling Junkies, and welcome to another episode of Toilet Side Wrestling Talk. Today's guest hails from Buffalo, New York, and began wrestling in 2012. Trained under Brandon Thurston, Pepper Parks, and Will Calrissian. He's worked for such promotions as Pro Wrestling Rampage, Empire State Wrestling, Southern Tier Wrestling, Upstate Pro Wrestling, Valley Wrestling Federation, to name a few. He's held the PWR Lake Erie Championship. He's also held the STW Tag Team Championships with Johnny Puma. He's currently the ESW Interstate Champion as well. Shared the ring with the likes of Rob Sweet, Hellcat, Kevin Bennett, Rocky Reynolds, Ethan Page, MJF, Anthony Gaines, again to name a few. From 2016 through 2019, each year he appeared on the PWI 500 list. And if you want to check out his ESW matches, head over to IWTV and YouTube as well. He's also the co-host of a podcast called Damn That's Scary, and we'll talk about that shortly. So let's welcome today's guest, certified fresh, his royal freshness, Frankie Feathers.
All right.
Frankie, how are you?
Hey, I'm good. How are you, Red?
I'm doing fine. My standard question, that was you in all the highlights, correct?
Yeah, that was me.
Okay, that's always a big worry. All right, now I got that out of the way. Okay, so we're obviously going to talk, wrestling, but can we talk about your podcast first? Damn, That's Scary.
Yeah.
Were you into like horror films growing up?
I've been into horror films since I could remember, to be completely honest. The first horror movie that I remember like watching and like being like and being terrified of, like to death of, is A Nightmare on Elm Street.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I watched it. I think I watched part 2 and part 3 when I was like 5 or 6 years old, and it gave me nightmares from like 5 to 13. So
the part Friday in Nightmare on Elm Street 3 when they're in the hospital and that guy's like kind of walking like a puppet,
that part still gets me.
Totally. I still think about it. My brother made me watch Friday the 13th part 3 one night when my mom was like on a date or something, and that one has screwed me up for years. Were your parents okay with you watching these?
Like my mom, not really, but my dad was kind of more. He was a little more lenient about it because I think I think he was the one who actually like is either him or my mom actually who like put on Child's Play back when it came out initially too.
Yeah,
and I guess that freaked me out too. Like I'm still pretty terrified of those My Buddy dolls from back in the day.
Yeah, totally. Or you just don't want to close your eyes when it's in the same room.
No, God, no.
Did you? So these gave you nightmares, but you kept watching?
Yeah, it's really weird because like I said, like the nightmares from like 5 until 13, like 14 at the latest. And I once in a while still have, but now I feel like I can control them a little more. Which is like,
sure.
But like I don't know, I just got really into it, and it's been a part of me since I can remember.
Did this come along before like you started before being interested in wrestling? Did your love of wrestling come at the same time you started watching horror films, or did that come afterwards?
It was around the same time because I fell in love with wrestling when I was about the same age, like 5 years old.
Okay,
Uh,
and did you like one more than the other?
oh, I mean, because I hated scary movies when I was a kid, so I was all 100% into wrestling growing up.
Okay.
So my horror movie love didn't I guess flourish until I was about maybe like 15.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Um, what's the scariest movie you've ever seen?
Um, Probably Hellraiser.
Oh, okay, yeah. That one was.
Hellraiser is the one that still actually like gives like oh no, it's too
Have
much.
you ever have you ever seen Terrifier?
I haven't yet, and which is it's funny you asked that because I'm pretty sure we're trying to have the actor David Howard Thornton on the show.
Oh, really?
Yeah. We try to get our schedules linked up because he's basically like filming stuff and stuff. So I haven't seen it yet, but I need to make sure I see it before that happens because I don't want to
It's
go in.
really it's aw I mean it's crazy and awful and bloody and
That's what I hear. Yeah.
it, it's insane. So when did you start the podcast?
Last August actually.
Oh, you guys have a ton of episodes already.
Yeah, we do one a week. I think we're at like episode 39 now. I think just came out yesterday. Yeah, we do one a week. My friend Micah, the Caesar from ESW. I don't know if you, yeah, like him and I we're like this. That's my guy.
Uh-huh.
He approached me with it like probably like a month or two before, and then I brought it back up to him shortly after that, and he's like, yeah, we're definitely still gonna do it. And we just been doing it, and we just added our third guy, Greg, who stepped in for me when I was dealing with some mental health stuff.
Uh-huh.
So like ever since I've been back, but Greg is still there, so it's been like a nice trio of like really good energy.
Yeah. And is it like a good creative outlet?
Oh yeah, especially now because we're all like still not quarantined up, but we're all still like being precautions and just being safe and stuff. So like it's nice to get out and like be able to do something that like gets your brain moving a little bit.
Yeah, and be able to connect with other human beings.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I'm
Did you
looking
have
forward.
did you
Go
have to
ahead.
invest in equipment?
No, we actually a friend, a mutual friend of mine and Micah's. He's also a former wrestler.
Uh-huh.
Um, he he's teamed up with this guy. I can't think of his name right now. I'm sorry. They have their own like little studio at like an old school here in Buffalo. So they put
Okay.
everything together. They have the computer, they have the mics, and all the headsets and all that too. So yes,
And did so what's your format of a typical episode?
okay. Typically we start off with our random and weird intros, and then
Hmm.
we go from that. We try to keep the news like if there's any like horror news that interests us. We try to like spit that out and spew that out to everybody. Then we do a thing we call the apology corner, because we say anything and everything on that show.
Uh-huh.
We try not to go too far over the edge, considering, but some stuff we have to apologize for, and it's a very tongue-in-cheek apology as well too, because we're just having fun with it. And
Yeah,
then
yeah.
after the apology corners, it was when we usually go into the movie reviews.
And how'd you determine what movie you're going to review?
It's recently just been Micah picking the movies. He
Oh,
he has
okay.
because like I said, I am a horror fan, but I'm not a horror aficionado. But
Okay.
he's an aficionado of the horror genre, so he knows damn near everything about horror there is to know about horror. So he's
Is
actually opened my eyes to a lot of stuff that I didn't know about.
Oh, wow. Well, there's a lot of crazy stuff. What about the one that really disturbed me was Human Centipede. Did you see any of those three?
Nah, I couldn't watch those.
Don't.
That's too
I
much.
wish that I could go back in time. If I had a time machine, could go back, I wouldn't go back and like make money or anything. I'd go back and make sure I never saw those three movies because
Yeah,
they're really disturbing. But
yeah.
whatever. No, that's enough about me. So let's. You haven't wrestled in a while. So what? Since 2019?
I had my last match before the shutdown in February 2020.
Now, have you still, since you haven't been in the ring, are you in possession of your belt?
Yeah, yeah. I just looked it up on Cage Max the other day. Actually, I am now officially the longest reigning champion.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
Which is, I mean, I guess it kind of doesn't count, but at the same time, if like, because we're not like defunct. We're not like we're just inactive because of more like.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's pretty wild because I didn't think I would have it for this long, but like I like it. You know, I like to have those bragging rights now that I'm the longest reigning champion in ESW3.
So. Every morning you wake up is history. You know, you've held it for one more day.
I know.
Do you ever during the pandemic, be home, sitting on the couch watching TV? Did you ever have your belt just kind of like that, or wearing it, or next to you watching TV or anything like that?
Ridiculously, yes, I have actually.
Oh, nice. Yeah, I'm glad someone is honest for once. I'd be doing that constantly, in front of the mirror.
Because I get that there are certain points where I miss it. Like obviously I miss the hell out of it right now, but I get to where I miss it so much. I'll go in my bag and I pull it out and I'm like, oh, my precious.
Yeah, totally. Rub it, polish it.
Yeah, I wear it. I know I act like I'm like doing promos with it. It's just ridiculous.
Oh, I bet I have so much fun with that thing. I take it to dinner. Just me and the belt. But put it across the table from you, and if there's other people that maybe not talk to it, but whatever.
I mean,
yeah, totally. Actually, I have a question later on that's going to relate to that. Now, perfect. Okay. I'll tie everything together. Right. So you're in Buffalo now?
Yes.
And did you grow up there?
Yeah, born and raised in Buffalo.
Oh wow! And is it University of Buffalo or Buffalo University?
There is a university at Buffalo, and there's a Buffalo State College as well.
Where did Khalil Mack and is it Josh Allen play?
Khalil Mack played at the University of Buffalo.
Okay. So Josh Allen, near?
Josh Allen plays for the Buffalo Bills, like the pro football team.
Oh no, the linebacker on the Jaguars. I don't remember, but I think he came out a couple years after Khalil Mack.
Josh Allen I think he's from Kentucky, actually.
Oh, you're right. Okay, pretend I didn't say that.
No, you're good.
Did you live near the school?
I'm probably about like I don't know, like a 15-minute drive to school.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So you grew up in Buffalo. Were you part of a big family or small family?
I grew up and it was just me, my mom, and my brother for the most part.
It's like me.
Pretty small family. But I have a host of cousins and like aunts and uncles.
So were you close with you said your brother?
Yeah.
Did you?
Because we're like 8 years apart, so it was kind of hard for us to get like that close, like growing up. Like I remember like when he was like a baby from babyhood. That's not a word, but from like babyhood. Like the time he was like 6 or 7, like he was attached to my hip. But then I got to high school and I got too cool for him, so I kind of I get out of here a little bit. But I kind of regret it too because I think that affected him a little bit. But we're better. I want to say that we are getting better now though.
As you're getting older, and like the age difference doesn't mean anything.
Yeah.
Who got you into wrestling, or was that something you stumbled upon on your own?
My mom did actually. Because my mom was a fan back in the day.
Oh, really?
My dad was too. But my mom, she's the one who like got me into it. Like, I was like, she would like sit me down, like it would be on, and I would start watching it. And I would, just watch it and watch it and watch it.
Do you have vivid memories of that?
The one thing I do remember exactly. I don't know how I remember it, but it's always stayed in the back of my mind. I remember watching a Survivor Series with Hogan and Andre. I think I can't remember what year it was. It may have been like 89
87?
Maybe 87. I can't distinctly remember it. But
87 or 88.
Yeah. And then like fast forward, I also because my dad had the Royal Rumble '91 on VHS, so I used to watch that constantly. too. But like I was always, it was weird because I was always like into it. Like when I was younger, and then I would fall out of it, and I would get back into it and go back, and got to the point where in the Attitude Era, I couldn't watch it because of all the stuff they were doing. But I was sneaky watching anyway because I didn't give a shit.
Yeah, I don't care. You're an adult.
Okay.
As long as you're an adult, I don't mind.
All right, yeah. But yeah, no.
Is that a nice feeling, like having that relationship with your mom, that you guys both love wrestling? Because I would kill for that, like to have memories of like me and my mom watching wrestling together, and I love wrestling.
Yeah, no, it's pretty dope because she's made a conscious effort, especially before everything. She came out to almost every show, and she almost started becoming part of other shows too because of her antics.
Oh, really?
Because she gets it. She gets what it is. So she gets into it and gets
sure. She plays a role of a fan.
Yes. Yeah.
Oh, that's good. So did she ever take you to matches growing up?
No. The first match that I went with my cousin's husband. There was a show in 1998 when it was still the Midland Arena. Here in Buffalo. I remember the match. The one match I remember, it was Austin versus Rock. It was back when it was back before The Rock was like huge. It was when Austin was starting to get big.
Mm-hmm.
I remember. It was The Rock versus Ken Shamrock.
So okay.
It was shortly before Mania 14, or either shortly before or shortly after it, because it was Shamrock versus The Rock, and I think it was Austin versus Triple H maybe, but I can't remember. I can't remember it. Yeah. But that was 13. That was like the first show that I had ever been to. Now I had the best time I ever had.
At what? Let me back up. What kind of personality were you like as a kid? Were you outgoing, introverted?
I was very, very introverted, quiet, shy. Didn't really. I had my group of friends that I would open up to and be like a kid too. But like if I didn't know you, it's kind of like today. If I didn't really know you, I wouldn't like. I'm very closed off and like just not. I don't want to. I'm not very like boisterous or anything like that. So
nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, and I was as a kid, I was the same way. But I think it was a lot more like kept in. So
yeah. Did you do any athletics?
Yeah, from age 8 until I graduated high school, I played football.
Oh wow!
I played 4 years of Little League football, and I played 3 years of high school football.
What position or positions did you play?
I played offensive line. Where like
oh really?
In Little League, I played offensive line, and then like high school, I played offensive and defensive line. Yeah.
Did you ever score a touchdown in your career in high school?
No, but the quarterback mistakenly threw me the ball because he was getting sacked. So he like tried to like he lateral it to me. So I ran for like 5 yards, and that was the highlight of my whole high school career.
Do you have video of it?
No, I wish I did.
Yeah, seriously, I just watched that little clip just over and over and over. So at what point did you say to yourself, what happened when you graduated high school?
Mm-hmm.
Did you continue on school, or had you already decided what you wanted to do?
Well, I knew when I was 16 that I wanted to wrestle.
Okay.
But I didn't tell my mom until I was 22 that I wanted to wrestle.
That was my next question.
I was very much afraid of what she thought of what she was going to think about it. Because, I had always said that I wanted to have my own business. I'm sorry if it's getting dark. I may have to turn on.
No, don't worry about it. It's good. It's good. I'll let you know if it's too dark.
Okay. Because when I was in high school, I told my mom that I always wanted to own my own business and like be an entrepreneur and stuff like that. And she was like, well, all right, well, when you graduate high school, go straight to college. I was like, I feel like I need like at least a year off before I do that, because going from kindergarten to 12th grade, 12 years straight,
nonstop.
It's a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And she was like, no, I think you'll regret it if you don't. So I was like, okay, fine, I'll go. Enrolled in the business administration program here at Buffalo. I barely went to class. I would go to campus and I would sleep in the student union for the most part. So I flunked out, failed, all that stuff. Started working little odds and ends jobs and stuff like that. And like I said, like they got to a point where my mom was, she was getting like tired of, because I mean at this point I'm 22, so she was like, you gotta figure out what you want to do with your life, and you gotta figure stuff out. And you can't just not do anything. I was like, no, I want to do something. I have something I want to do in my life. And she's like, well, what? Because at this point she's getting frustrated about it, because she's like, well, what the hell do you want to do? And like with like, tears in my eyes, because again I was terribly afraid of what she was gonna think about it.
Sure. And this is the first time you verbalized it to her?
First time I've ever said anything to her about it, because I told I told my cousins about it. All my cousins knew, like a few of my friends knew, but like she was the one person who I just for whatever reason just couldn't get it out.
Sure.
Finally got it out, and she was like, okay, if that's what you want to do, then you can go ahead and do it.
Was that like a huge like weight off your back?
It was like a flood of emotions. It's just like
wow. And did she know? Have you guys talked about this since? Did she know how like heavy that was sitting on you for all those years?
You know what? I don't think we ever had that discussion. I should probably like bring it up to her and see what she says. Because like I said, from 16 to 20, it's like 5 years of like knowing what I wanted to do, and it's like not having to not say anything to her about it. So, yeah. So that's I think I will bring that up to her next time I talk to her.
All right, if you guys want to call me in, that's fine. I don't have much going on. I can just hang out. I won't even say anything. Okay, so you have this conversation. What's the next step you take? Do you have to look for a trainer?
Well, to be completely honest, I kept working. I just worked, and I worked like regular, like I worked retail jobs and like I like jobs and stuff like that. It wasn't until I worked at, I don't know if you remember the store Aeropostale.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, they're still around, but I don't know why I said remember it. But I was working there. It was just like, well, I was 22 actually. It was the same year. So I was working there, and we had these things. We had like what we call floor sets. We would like go there like 11 o'clock at night, and rearrange the whole store and stuff like that. And this girl was there, and she was like, she out of the blue asked me like, so what do you want to do with your life? I know you don't want to work here forever, so what do you want to do? I was like, I actually want to be a professional wrestler. And she said, that's very funny you say that, because my boyfriend's a professional wrestler.
Oh, wow.
And I was like, holy shit.
Yeah.
What kind of coincidence? Yeah, this is incredible. So she said that she would like link us up, and I met him. I met him at Will Carbizian.
Okay. Yeah.
It was Will Carbizian. I met him. He like we talked for like probably like a couple minutes, because she just brought him to the store because he was shopping and stuff. So she left, and then she left the job. I didn't see her again for another year or two. So at this point, I'm 24, and she come back to work at the store because she's in nursing school, and she's like getting like working for extra money. So then I bring it back up to her, and I was like, hey, your boyfriend's a wrestler, right? And she's like, yeah, but he's currently like out because he got really hurt. So long story short, like I finally actually introduced myself to him. We finally actually like connect. And she's like, well, okay. So Lizzie's like, well, okay. There's a show on this day. Come to the show. We're gonna do like a pre-show seminar, and we'll yeah. So then at that point I was like into it, because like
now. Meanwhile, are you in shape during this, these years? Like, are you working out and stuff?
Like here and there. I was still high school heavy.
Oh, okay.
High school, I was about 250 pounds.
Oh, okay.
The most. It's football weight, because I played. I played. I know I had to be big. But I wasn't really working out that much, but I was trying to do enough to like stay in decent shape, I guess.
Okay.
But yeah, other than that, no, not really.
Okay, so you go to this show, and does that kind of start the ball rolling?
Yeah, because in Buffalo there wasn't. Oh, Thank you. This is my turn to light for me.
Nice.
In Buffalo, there really wasn't anywhere to go train in Buffalo.
Okay.
There wasn't like, and there was Buffalo Championship Wrestling.
Mm-hmm.
Years ago. It was Empire State Wrestling, and there
Mm-hmm.
was, which was NWA Empire, I think around that time.
Mm-hmm.
But I didn't know. I just didn't know like where people were and like how people like got to, where people went to go train. Like I had no idea.
Yeah, yeah.
I do remember sending a couple of emails to Buffalo Championship Wrestling and Killer Mark Kumpf.
Okay.
I do remember like sending emails to him, and he responded once. He's like, "Hey, come here on this date and such." And I didn't go because I kind of got scared a little bit.
Okay, sure, I imagine.
Because it's like okay, like this is what you want to do. You say you're actually gonna get ready to go do it, and like I kind of choked and freaked myself out a little bit about it. But yeah, there just wasn't anywhere to go in Buffalo as far as
Okay. So how do you get to a trainer? Like, how did you come to like where you were going to train?
Just the pre-show seminars for ESW. That's how I got the ball rolling with that.
When you went for the first day,
Mm-hmm.
did you think as you were going there that you were physically ready, like for this type of training?
No, but I knew what it entailed of too, though, because I'm tough enough and stuff like that. And watching it for years, I knew it was going to be like pretty rigorous. But like hitting the ropes the first time, that sucked because I'd never hit the rope before, and taking bumps for the first time, that sucked because bumps hurt.
Was it surreal being in a wrestling ring for the first time, like for being a fan? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
It seems like
it was very surreal, very like. It was surreal, but at the same time, it was kind of like I was super comfortable with it. Like I felt like I felt like that's what I was supposed to be doing.
Oh, okay. That's a good sign early on.
Like,
and were you training with anyone who was at your experience level at that time?
There were a couple of guys who started training around the same time I started training. And I think Christopher O'Brien also go by Plunkett. There was another kid named Jeff King who would train. He hasn't been around in years though, which is unfortunate. We always say that like Christopher O'Brien and Jeff King will make a perfect wrestler if they work together.
Totally.
Because Jeff King physically could do it, and Christopher O'Brien mentally had it out. He held up here mentally.
Yeah.
It just didn't for whatever reason. I don't want to say Kevin Bennett, because I think Kevin Bennett was trained before I started. But he would do seminars as well too, and so would wow, I'm blanking. Oliver Street Express, Randy and Andy, those guys from North Carolina. Well, they were anyway. They both retired too. But there really isn't that many like guys that I started training around that that has been has been around for a long time around.
Is there anything that would you ever like? Did you look back? Is training fun? I mean, is there any like fun part to it? I mean, because I imagine it's grueling hard work training.
Yeah, I always had a fun time training. The only thing that always bummed me out about training was the cardio aspect, because I hate cardio.
Yeah, I imagine that's one of the toughest parts.
Yeah. But like once you get used to the cardio, everything else is like it's a blast, man. You can't really. I feel like there's nothing really like it, to be honest.
And who told you were ready for your first match?
Okay, so I did seminars for about 8 months with Brandon Thurston, because Brandon Thurston is the one who actually trained me. So then Brandon was like, okay, you need. I can tell that you actually want this because you keep coming around. So I'm gonna start taking you to Hamlin, New York, which is a suburb of Rochester.
Okay.
It was an old promotion called Pier 6 Wrestling. They had their own building and they had their own ring and stuff. So we would go like 2 or 3 times a week we would jump out the handler and like just get in the ring and just like chain around, wrestle, people teach me stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where I really got my education as far as wrestling is concerned, because Brandon is one of the better wrestlers out of Buffalo, if not to be honest, because Brandon's a talented dude.
Yeah.
I wish he was like more. I wish he was out there more wrestling, because like I said, he's the dude is talented. He's the one he trained Garcia. He trained Blackwood. So.
Oh really?
Yeah. With the help of Mikey every night, but he trained those two. He taught them everything that he knows.
Do you have IWTV?
I do, but I haven't really gotten into using it. I've been so busy with like working and stuff and trying to make sure.
Yeah.
Float around.
Do you ever watch the ESW like the shows that are on there? The older ones.
Like the older.
That's where I came across you for the first time.
Like the older ones with me in them, or like just the older one in general?
That you were in.
Oh yeah, I have a really hard time watching any of my matches, to be completely honest.
Have you ever seen your first match?
I haven't seen it in a long time.
That's the no desire to.
No, like, because I do remember watching it years ago, and I do remember like being like, that wasn't bad for a first match at all. I mean, I was in it with Bill Collier, so how the hell can you have a bad match with Bill Collier? Because he's tremendous. Funny story about that, actually. My first match was actually supposed to be against Brody Lee, rest in peace.
Oh wow.
Yeah, but he and I was really looking forward to it too, but he had just got signed. Like he had signed, he just signed the contract, so he was. God. So I imagine he was like, I don't want to be in there with the green kid and potentially get hurt. Which,
and risk that.
100%. I respect that. I'm not, I wouldn't be the guy who hurt him either.
He was about to, he was about to go make some big money. You don't want to be responsible for that.
No. So it got switched to Bill. And every time, like, because Brody was there, he was in the locker room on the same day, because I think his match got switched to somebody else too. And every time I would see him, he's like, hey, don't fuck up. And like every time I walk by, I'm like, hey, don't fuck up. And I'm not gonna fuck up.
Is that in your head at that point? Like, is what he's saying get in your head? Okay.
No, it's surprising, because like I said, like the physical stuff has like weirdly come natural to me.
Mm-hmm.
I know sometimes, like I just, even with the clip you just showed at the beginning of the interview, I was kind of like, oh no, please, there's a couple things I noticed. I was like, I didn't really like about like what I was doing, but like the physical, like always come natural, has come really natural to me, like since I've been out. So I wasn't worried about that. I was more so worried about just like placement and like what to do at this time, and like where to make sure I was in the right spot and stuff like that. So. But had a match with Bill, and they got to the back, and Bill, like, he'll be the first to tell you if you sucked or if you did a good job. Like, he's like Bill was like, that was your first match? I mean, that was the first singles match? I was like, yeah. He's like, that was your first match of all time. I said, yeah. He said, shit, kid, it's not bad.
Was that like the greatest thing you had heard?
Oh hell yeah!
Someone say to you?
Yeah, I was cloud nine for the rest of that night.
I bet. Maybe the answer is you're still not. What point do you start feeling like comfortable in the ring, like to have a singles match, or are you ever comfortable?
I mean, I think you have to get to a point where you are comfortable.
Okay.
Because if not, like it clearly shows.
Mm-hmm. Do you remember like a moment where it clicked in the ring? Like you're like, okay, I got this.
Honestly, it was probably the match that I had with Kevin Blackwood that made me be like, holy shit, okay, I can if I keep at this, I can make some noise.
Yeah.
Because at that point, that was probably the best match I had at that point, like wrestling. Like I said, Kevin the Blackwoods, he's one of the most he picked up wrestling faster than I've ever seen anybody pick up wrestling in my
Wow.
like been around. It's ridiculous. Like 6 months in, and he was like doing stuff that I could only dream about doing, to be honest.
Oh wow.
Kevin Black was a very, 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 very good wrestler. I will never take that away from him. It was that match where I was kind of like, okay, if I can hang with Kevin Black, I think I can hang with anybody for the most part. So
That gave you more confidence, like instantly.
Yeah.
So how do you measure, like, how do you measure like your success? Like, is it like if you get to hold a championship, something where the crowd reacts? How do you measure like how well you're doing?
Honestly, like the championship stuff doesn't really matter to me. I just want to have good matches. I say that as I was bragging about being the longest reigning champion.
No, totally. No, it's totally justifiable.
But I honestly, like, I don't ever have to win another championship, like, in my career. Like, I just want to have good matches. I want to have a good time. I'll be 36 this year, so I'm kind of on the down end of it, I guess. Depending on like who you ask, I should say. But like,
I'm a lot older than you. You're still very young.
But
enjoy this time.
I am. Like, but I also feel really refreshed after like not wrestling for a year and a half almost now too. Though my body feels better than it has the previous like 6 years before. What is that? Sorry, I thought it was something.
No, I assume it was a ghost. So
it probably was. I've seen a few ghosts in this damn house. I'm not gonna lie.
Have you been in a ring since the last time you wrestled at a show? Yeah.
I actually started just driving out to Niagara Falls. There's a ring in Niagara Falls that I've been going to.
Oh.
Yeah, just getting in there, bumping around, getting the feel for bumping again.
Let me ask you something. Can you watch wrestling as a fan anymore?
It's hard.
Like, can you enjoy it as like you did when you were a kid?
It's hard now considering all the stuff I know about it. But like, I watched WrestleMania. I watched the first night of WrestleMania, and I enjoyed the hell out of it.
Like, and are you watching like being critical or just like the big wow moments?
Yeah, watch it being critical, watching to see like what I can and can't do, what I should or shouldn't do. Like also critiquing stuff that I have no business fucking critiquing because I'm not on TV and they are.
Yeah, so what?
It happens to all of us though. We all like get that mentality. It's really hard to watch wrestling in general now because of it.
So as a little boy, you were a big wrestling fan. Do you ever when you're alone or saying, do you think to yourself, wow, I became a pro wrestler? Some kids want to be an astronaut or a fireman. You want to be a wrestler, and then like that's what you are. Like, is that do you recognize that in yourself?
Honestly, yeah. If I can go back and meet like 16-year-old me, or even like 14-year-old me. I think I say 16. I think I've known as far back as 14 that I went to.
Okay.
I don't know how far I wanted to take it back then, but like I think I knew as far as back then. If I go back to talk to a 14-year-old me and be like, hey man, we're fucking doing it. Because never in a million. Cool. Especially like with how it all worked out too though. I'm becoming a believer in like in fate and destiny now because of certain situations. Like, sure. I feel like if I wasn't supposed to be wrestling, I would have never ran into her, and I would have never ran into her a second time too. So like, it's crazy.
Well, like even thinking back to the first time you met this woman, it was what, the middle of the night in the store.
Yeah.
Like I mean, that's so random that you're at work at some weird hour when you should be sleeping, and you meet this person, and that kind of changes the rest of your life.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. It's destiny.
Yeah, exactly. Are you able to book anything for 2021 yet, or are things still up in the air as far as shows?
New York is still pretty limited to what we can do. Certain parts of New York, I think there are like certain areas in New York that kind of can get away with it. Okay. But I know for the most part, New York is still like is like not, because the capacities are still like pretty, like I think they're only like 50%, and we need at least 75% for us to run a show. But
to make it worth it.
Yeah, so we're still waiting. Like it seems like Cuomo is like starting to, budge a little bit on some stuff. So hopefully, especially with him and all his issues he's having right now, he's trying to do everything he can to not.
Oh my God. He's got to get something right.
Right. Yeah, I know.
I mean, I want to say, he made his own bed, but my instinct is to say, "Oh, poor guy. Yeah, he's in a lot of trouble. That guy."
Yeah.
All right, Frankie. I'm going to let you go shortly. It's a Saturday evening. Can I ask you 5 yes or no questions that have nothing to do with wrestling?
Absolutely.
Okay. Have you ever cried during any film that had talking animals in it?
Oh, hell yeah.
Okay. Honestly, I appreciate that.
Yeah, Lion King all day. Like,
okay.
I cried
when the bird comes.
Watching the original. No, it's the part where he tries to wake him up.
Oh, that is.
And like he's like, "Dad, get up!" And like I cried when I was like a kid in the theater, and then like when the remake came out, I think it was like 2 years ago, I teared up by that part.
Oh,
it hits me, yeah.
All right. Do you know anyone who's ever married an inanimate object?
No.
I one time heard a story, or an interview of a woman who married a chip off that fell off of the Golden Gate Bridge. She married it legally.
Wait, how in the hell? Wait, how?
Like a paint chip fell off, rusted off the bridge, and a little this size thing. And you can marry these things in certain places. I mean, they obviously didn't have children or anything, but there was somebody who officiated it. I don't know if she had any guests. Okay, do you perchance sleep hanging upside down like a vampire?
No, do not. Unfortunately, that would be dealt with.
Yeah, well, you always have a headache, but I guess there's other advantages of being a vampire. For $656,000,
okay,
would you get a split tongue? You know what I'm talking about? Like kids do that, where they cut like surgically the tongue so it looks like a snake's tongue.
For how much money?
$656,000.
Yes.
Okay. And finally, do you like me? Do you dislike children?
No, I actually love kids. Kids are weirdly like I'm really good with kids too. I just can't wait.
I used to love kids until I had them, and now I realize I just don't like kids. But I gotta finish these 2 out though. I have to finish what I started, and then back to freedom. All right, Frankie, you passed those 5 questions with flying colors. Sweet. Thank you so much for coming on. So again, let me pop this up. Your podcast, Damn That's Scary, can be listened to on bicbp-radio.com. And is it also available on other podcast download platforms?
Yeah, it's also available on Spotify. It is also on Apple Podcasts, and I think it's on Google Podcasts, but I'm not too completely sure. But it's definitely on the first 2.
Yeah, if it's on those first 2, I'm sure it's on. Like the other major one. And unfortunately, you don't know when you're wrestling next, right?
No, unfortunately not. I'm hoping. Right. I think we're all hoping like the summer, but like we don't. Who knows at this point?
Yeah, exactly. You know what? I guess you can base it on like seeing the capacity of like the baseball, football, and basketball stadiums, how those are progressing. Probably, and then like the smaller stuff will follow. But anyways, stay healthy. I really appreciate you coming on and giving me your time. And I wish you well.
Thank you, Brad. I appreciate you having me on, man. This is a lot of fun.
Yeah, it was my pleasure. And anytime you have something to say, you can just give me a DM me and we'll get you on the air.
All right, I got you, brother.
All right, take care.
You too, man.
All right, bye.